Imagine this. You're in a room full of people. Maybe it's a work meeting, a family gathering, or a party with friends. On the outside, you're nodding, you're smiling. You might even be laughing along. You're playing the part you've been cast in, the one you've rehearsed for years, the strong one, the stable one, the one who has it all together. But inside, there's a storm raging. A casual comment from someone sliced you open just minutes ago, but you can't let it show. A look of disappointment from a person you admire feels like a physical blow, but you just take a sip of your drink and pretend you didn't notice. You're surrounded by noise and conversation, but the only thing you can hear is the roaring silence inside your own head, a hollow space where a deep, persistent ache lives. Have you ever felt that? That profound disconnect between the person you present to the world and the person bleeding out on the inside. Have you ever wished, with every fiber of your being, to just be unshakable? To be that person who can walk through criticism, rejection, loss, or even betrayal without so much as flinching. To finally be free from that quiet anguish that gnaws at you in the dead of night. That tight knot of anxiety in your chest that's there even on your best days. Maybe you're just so incredibly tired. Tired of the performance. Tired of holding up this shield of invulnerability. Of being the rock for everyone else when you feel like you're crumbling into sand. The sheer effort it takes to maintain that image, to constantly project strength, is a weight that never lifts. In your most private moments, all you really want is to be able to set it down, just for a moment, to rest from the relentless pressure of being untouchable, to just be, to feel a flicker of weakness without judging it as a catastrophic failure. But you've learned that the world can be a brutal place, and showing any crack in the armor feels like an invitation for attack. So you keep the walls up, you keep the mask on, and you keep that ache buried deep, hoping that one day it will just disappear. But I need to tell you something, a truth that might sting at first, but a truth that holds the key to your freedom. As long as you dedicate your life to avoiding pain, it will own you. As long as your primary goal is to protect yourself, to numb your feelings, to hide from the things that hurt, you will remain a prisoner, a hostage to the world around you. You'll be enslaved by a stray word, a thoughtless action, a text message left on read. The silences of others will feel like a verdict on your worth. And please, don't mistake this for weakness. This is the default human condition. This is the reality for almost everyone walking this earth. The only real difference is that some people have become better actors, more skilled at pretending it isn't happening. The great pioneer of depth psychology, Carl Jung, gave us a map for this territory. He said that we are not what happens to us, but what we choose to become. And right there, in that single idea, lies the entire game. The goal isn't to build a fortress around your heart so thick that nothing can get in. It's not about becoming cold, indifferent, or emotionally numb. The true path to becoming unshakable is about integration. It's about turning on the lights in the dark rooms of your soul and bravely looking at what's been lurking there. It's about bringing to light everything that is currently controlling you from the shadows. Because real, authentic strength is not the absence of pain. It is the full, courageous awareness of who you are, especially when you are wounded. If you've listened this far, it's not an accident. There's a part of you that recognizes the truth in these words, a part that is bone-tired of being hurt by everything and everyone. This is for you, the one who feels like you're always on the losing end of an emotional battle, as if other people hold a secret power over you that you can't seem to grasp. I want to show you that it doesn't have to be this way. Your freedom is closer than you think. But to get there, you're going to have to face some truths that might hurt. But for the very first time, this is a pain that won't break you. This is the pain that will set you free. You've been operating under a false premise. You believe the source of your pain is out there. It's in your partner's criticism, your boss's expectations, the friend who betrayed you, the parent who never understood you. You see the hurt as something that is done to you, an external force that attacks your peace. But the truth, in all its brutal simplicity, is that none of those things, not the words, not the actions, not the abandonments, have any inherent power to hurt you. They can't land a blow unless there's already an open wound inside you, a place that is tender and waiting to be struck. The pain you feel is not about what they did. It's about what their actions activated within you. It's the old, familiar story you immediately start telling yourself about what it means. It's the echo of a past trauma that you never fully healed. It's that gaping emptiness you've been trying to patch up with achievements, with being nice, with that desperate, frantic need to appear perfectly fine. Jung's work illuminates this beautifully. The pain we feel from the external world is almost always a mirror, a reflection of what we haven't yet faced in our internal world. This is why one person can be fired from a job and see it as an opportunity, while another person hears a slight change in someone's tone of voice and crumbles for a week. It's not about the event itself. It's about where the arrow lands. And if it hits something that's already infected, the pain will be immense. And this leads us to an even more uncomfortable truth. You continue to suffer so much because, on some deep, unconscious level, you still believe you can control how the world treats you. You operate as if life is a cosmic contract where, if you just play your part perfectly, you'll be exempt from pain. If you're just good enough, smart enough, strong enough, kind enough, understanding enough, then surely no one will hurt you. Surely, you will earn your immunity from suffering. But this desire for control is the ultimate illusion, and it's the source of so much of your anxiety. As long as you cling to this illusion, you are signing up for a life of constant tension. You are trying to predict the unpredictable, to manage the unmanageable, to avoid the inevitable. It's exhausting. Do you truly want to stop suffering? Then you must stop trying to shield yourself from it. What you need is not more control over the outside world, but more awareness of your inner one. As long as you believe that other people need to change their behavior for you to feel better, you will be their slave. Your peace will always be in someone else's hands. Your freedom begins, right now, in the very moment you understand that everything that comes from the outside, every comment, every action, every rejection, only has power if it finds a corresponding echo inside of you. And this is the real battleground. Not out there, but in here, in the vast, uncharted territory of your own unconscious mind. What you do not see, what you do not understand, what you do not acknowledge, that is what truly runs your life. That is what holds you captive. And that is exactly where we are going next. Get ready to go a level deeper, because that's where the chains are, and that's where the key to unlocking them is waiting. The biggest and most convincing lie you've ever been told is that you are the one in control of your life, that you are the conscious author of your choices, the master of your emotional domain. It's time to wake up from that dream, because you're not. At least, not as long as you continue to live on the surface, running on autopilot. Not as long as you keep reacting without knowing why you're reacting, feeling emotions without understanding their true source, and making major life decisions that some hidden part of you immediately begins to sabotage. Carl Jung drew the map for this territory with chilling clarity when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Read that again. It will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And that is the exact play that has been running in your life right now. That recurring pain you feel, the one that shows up in different forms but always has the same bitter taste, that isn't fate. That explosive anger that bursts out of you over something trivial, shocking even yourself, that isn't just a bad temper. That profound, heavy sadness that can descend like a fog on a perfectly sunny day, with no logical reason to be there, none of this is random. These are not glitches in your system. They are messages, urgent communiques from the parts of you that have been forgotten, ignored, and pushed down into the basement of your psyche. Jung called this vast, dark, and powerful territory the unconscious. And it's crucial to understand that it isn't just some passive storage unit for old memories or a vague cloud of thoughts. It is an active, living force. It is an entire ecosystem of unresolved trauma, unfulfilled desires, deep-seated fears, and primal needs that your conscious mind, your ego, has deemed unacceptable or too painful to confront. But here's the problem. You can't fire the unconscious. You can't vote it out of office. You can only ignore it. And when you do, it continues to make decisions for you, pulling the strings from behind the curtain. You wonder why those specific words from that specific person can shatter your entire day, while someone else could say the exact same thing and you wouldn't care. It's because those words aren't just words. They are a key, perfectly cut to fit a lock deep inside you. They unlock a door to a room where a younger version of you is still hurting, a part of you that is still living in the moment of an old wound. And if that wound is still alive, it's only because you never went in to properly clean it and stitch it up. You just slammed the door, locked it, and threw away the key, hoping the problem would solve itself. You pushed it all under the great psychological rug, and now you spend your entire life tiptoeing around that part of the living room, wondering why you keep tripping and falling flat on your face. Jung offered another breadcrumb on this trail when he said, "We cannot change anything until we accept it. Condemnation does not liberate, it oppresses." And what have you been doing for your entire life? Judging yourself for your sadness, condemning yourself for your anger, feeling ashamed of your neediness. You've been trying to silence these parts of you, repressing them, telling them they are wrong to exist, as if that would somehow make them disappear. But the unconscious doesn't just vanish because you disapprove of it. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can do it for a while, with immense effort and concentration, but the moment your attention wavers, the ball doesn't just resurface. It explodes out of the water with incredible force. Your repressed sadness doesn't disappear. It finds a more dangerous way to manifest as chronic apathy or a mysterious physical illness. Your ignored anger doesn't just fade. It seeps out sideways as passive aggression, cynicism, or in the choice of a romantic partner who will constantly provoke that anger for you. The patterns of self-sabotage you can't seem to break, the toxic relationship dynamics you keep repeating with different people, the sudden anxiety that grips you just when things start going well. This isn't a string of bad luck. This isn't fate. This is your unconscious, desperately trying to get your attention. It's trying to wake you up. But you, terrified of what you might find, keep hitting the snooze button. Do you want to be someone who is no longer so easily hurt? Then you have to stop running from what's inside of you. You must turn around and face it. Because as long as you are a stranger to your own unconscious, you will be a puppet of your own emotions. You will live your life in a state of reaction, constantly thrown off balance by the winds of the outside world. And the more you frantically try to build armor to protect yourself from external pain, the pain of criticism, the pain of rejection, the more you expose yourself to the far more dangerous internal pain, the pain of a divided self. But there is a way out. It's a path, not a magic trick. And the entrance to that path is not found in building better defenses. It is found in the courageous act of integration. The process of becoming truly untouchable is not an act of resistance against the world. It is an act of profound, radical self-knowledge and acceptance. It's about finally sitting down with the parts of you that you have exiled and listening to what they have to say. This is the journey we are going to explore next. What does it truly mean to be an integrated, whole person? Why does this kind of unshakable strength come not from armor, but from a vulnerable, open-hearted acceptance of everything you are? Let's continue this journey. Most people, when faced with the raw, terrifying vulnerability of being human, make a very logical choice. They decide to close up shop. They believe the only way to stop getting hurt is by building a fortress. They construct walls of indifference, forge masks of cynicism, and wrap themselves in emotional armor, all while chanting the mantra, I don't care anymore. Nothing gets to me. But this is a grand deception. Because while the fortress may look impenetrable from the outside, on the inside, the person is slowly suffocating. They are corroding from within, because the problem was never the feeling itself. The problem was not knowing what you are feeling and, more importantly, why you are feeling it. And this kind of profound self-ignorance only happens to those who have not yet had the courage to truly meet themselves. Jung was a master of this distinction. He advised, know all the theories, master all the techniques, but when touching a human soul, be just another human soul. And that human soul you've been so desperate to protect, the one you've hidden behind a character of invulnerable strength, is screaming to be seen, to be touched by you. Becoming truly, deeply, emotionally strong has absolutely nothing to do with being cold. It has nothing to do with ignoring pain, avoiding conflict, or pretending you don't care. That is not strength. That is fear dressed up in a costume. Real strength is the complete opposite. It's about integration. It's about having the raw courage to accept, to embrace, and to bring into the light of your own awareness everything you have spent a lifetime burying in the dark. You do not become untouchable by creating a barrier between you and the world. You become untouchable when you finally realize that no one can weaponize a part of you that you have already embraced. When you integrate your shadow, your deepest fears, your perceived flaws, your shame, your insecurities, you neutralize the world's power over you. You are no longer reacting to every little trigger because you've already walked through that landscape inside yourself. You are no longer an emotional puppet whose strings can be pulled by anyone. You begin to observe. You begin to choose. And that, right there, is the beginning of true freedom. Jung called this profound, lifelong journey individuation. It is the process of becoming who you really are, not who the world told you to be, not who your parents expected you to be, and not even who you thought you needed to be in order to be loved and accepted. Individuation is the emergence of your authentic self, born from the sacred meeting of your light and your shadow, your conscious ego and your vast unconscious. But this is not a process of achieving perfection. Jung was clear. Individuation is a process not of perfection, but of completion. You don't need to become a better person. You just need to become a whole person. And here is the secret that so few will ever tell you. The more you run from your pain, the more ferociously it will hunt you down. The more you try not to be affected by the world, the more fragile and brittle your defenses become. But when you turn around and face your own wounds, when you can look at yourself with all your beautiful and ugly parts, your noble and your shameful impulses, and you can hold it all in a state of acceptance, then nothing from the outside has the power to dismantle you. However, this path demands a staggering amount of courage. The courage to look at the parts of yourself you swore you'd never see. The courage to let go of the masks that have kept you safe for so long. And above all, the courage to feel the grief, the rage, the terror, without numbing it, without running from it. Because it is precisely in the heart of that pain that the key to your transformation is hidden. You have been taught your entire life to hate your suffering. You learned that pain is a sign of weakness, that crying is self-indulgent, that feeling things too deeply makes you a liability. And so you began to run. You denied, you avoided, you distracted. But the more you fled from suffering, the more it stalked you. And worse, it began to shapeshift, disguising itself as chronic anxiety, as biting cynicism, as a deep, soul-crushing boredom, or as self-destructive habits that you couldn't explain. Ignored pain never goes away. It just digs secret tunnels inside of you until one day, the entire structure of your life collapses without warning. Jung saw suffering as something sacred. He believed it was the messenger of the soul, the alarm system of the unconscious. He famously said, "Depression is like a lady in black. If she appears, don't push her away. Invite her in, offer her a seat, treat her as a guest, and listen to what she has to say. But you don't listen, do you? You turn up the volume on the TV, you scroll endlessly, you stay busy, you numb yourself with work or wine or relationships. You will do anything to avoid looking at the one thing that truly matters. What is this pain trying to show you? The truth is, suffering only has the power to destroy you because you are still at war with yourself. There is a part of you crying out for growth and another part terrified of change. There is something inside you that is ready for a profound transformation, but your ego, which is addicted to control and familiarity, is desperately trying to suffocate that call. The pain you feel is the friction of that internal battle, because real change hurts. Growth hurts. Letting go of old identities, severing toxic connections, allowing the parts of you that no longer serve you to die. All of this is a form of mourning. It is an internal process of death and rebirth. But it is only in that space of ruin, when everything you thought you were has been deconstructed, when your certainties have crumbled and the pain has stripped you bare of all your defenses, that you can finally see who you really are. And in that moment, suffering becomes a holy thing, because it brings you to your knees before the only power that can ever truly set you free, your own integrated self. Jung knew that suffering is not a system failure. It is a feature of the system, an essential part of the journey toward individuation. Pain is not the end of the road. It is the gateway. The problem is that most people get to the entrance of that dark valley, feel the chill, and immediately turn back to the superficial warmth of the surface. But not you. If you have made it this far, it is because some part of you is ready to make the crossing. Now that you're here, there is one last thing that needs to be said with absolute clarity. Nothing will ever shield you from the world if you remain unconscious of what's happening within you. The words will keep hurting, the rejections will keep stinging, and the losses will keep leveling you until you awaken. An awakening is not a mystical, one-time event. It is a daily, moment-to-moment choice. It is the choice to look within, even when it's uncomfortable. It is the choice to take radical responsibility for everything you feel, without blaming anyone or anything else. Carl Jung said it best: what you resist persists. You have spent your entire life resisting the fear of not being enough, resisting the emptiness of loneliness, resisting the anguish of not feeling seen. And all it has brought you is here, exhausted, tired of fighting a war on two fronts, against the world and against yourself. But now you know the truth. True emotional immunity is not hardness, it is clarity. It is not about building armor. It is about expanding your awareness. Because when you understand your own triggers, your own patterns, your own wounds, the actions of others lose their destructive power. You may still feel the sting, but you no longer become the sting. You may still feel sadness, but you no longer drown in it. And that changes everything. What shields you is not protecting yourself from life. It is diving into it, into its deepest waters. Those who live on the surface are battered by every wave. But those who learn to dive know that far below the turbulence, there is a profound silence, a deep stability, and an unshakable power. And that is where you are headed. When you begin to live from that place of integration, presence, and acceptance, the world can rage and storm all at once. It will no longer find a place to land a blow. If this journey has spoken to you, if something deep inside you has awakened, write it down right now in the comments. I choose awareness. Let this be your declaration. Let's start a movement of people who are done surviving by pretending and are ready to truly live with courage and with truth. And don't forget, the next video is a crucial part of this path. Real transformation doesn't stop after the first step. You need to keep going. I'll see you there.
Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next content. Goodbye.